Hi everyone, it is Yasmin here, and in this week's video, I want to speak to you all about constipation or irregular bowel movements and our hormones. So, this may not be two areas of the system that you may think are directly linked, but in fact, they have a really powerful knock-on effect on one another. And if you are suffering with constipation or irregular bowel movements, then please carry on listening or reading this article to get some actionable tips on how you can try and help your situation. So, if you are a female listening to this, then you may be all too familiar with the monthly hormonal changes that occur within a woman's body, known as the menstrual cycle, and you may also be familiar with the symptoms that come along with it. So, whilst monthly hormonal changes can have an effect on our energy, our productivity, and our mood, our hormonal changes and these symptoms can actually be linked to or even exacerbated by reduced or irregular bowel movements. So let's take a quick step back and have a quick biology lesson. So in order for our hormones and our waste products to be excreted from the body regularly, the first step in doing this is via the liver. So the liver is responsible for binding to these excess hormones and converting them into what we call water soluble forms so they can travel down to the gut and the rectum and then be excreted from the body. If you find that you are suffering with constipation or going for a number two happens less than once a day for you, then your hormones, which are ready for excretion in the rectum, can actually be recirculated back into your system. And this is because the hormones are spending more time in that digestive system towards the end, and therefore they can be recirculated into the body because they're not being removed quick enough. So this could contribute to increased levels of our female hormones such as estrogen in the body. In addition to this, imbalances in our gut bacteria, so having reduced levels of our beneficial bacteria, can upregulate the production of an enzyme called beta-glucuronidase. Now, this enzyme is capable of reactivating the bound hormones and causing them to be recirculated into the bloodstream. So the imbalanced gut bacteria together with the infrequent bowel movements work together to contribute to these hormonal exacerbations. So if your constipation is long lasting and not just a one-off spell, then you may start to suffer with some of the effects of these increased levels of hormones, such as higher estrogen. You may find that your premenstrual syndrome, so your PMS, feels worse or more intense, and you may suffer symptoms such as increased headaches, breast tenderness, porous skin, heavier periods, increased fluid retention, and also feeling bloated. It's important to note that estrogen isn't an inherently bad hormone. It often gets this bad rep as it can be involved in the symptoms mentioned, but estrogen is a really, really essential and important female hormone. Where issues start to arise is where the ratio of estrogen to progesterone, which is another female hormone, becomes out of balance, and the estrogen is present in higher amounts or is the more dominant hormone. So if this all sounds like something that you may be suffering with, then here are 5 tips on what you can try and do. So the first one is fluid intake. So it may seem quite boring and old-fashioned, but water intake is something that we really underestimate at how powerful it can be. So ensuring that you drink enough fluid can help to soften your stool, make it easier to pass. So water should make up the majority of our fluid intake, but also remember that herbal teas can count, and consuming hydrating foods such as fruits and vegetables in the form of smoothies and soups, can also be really helpful. So dependent on the weather and your activity level, your fluid requirements may change. However, as a general guide for an adult, we should be aiming for about 2 litres of fluid per day. So just keep this in mind. Try and keep some water that you can infuse with some fresh fruits and herbs if you want to make it a bit more interesting, but try and keep those on you at all times to remind you to drink. The second tip is fibre. So this food group is absolutely essential when it comes to our digestive system. Think of fibre as the food or the fertiliser for the digestive system, and they can really help things like our gut bacteria and creating that diversity, and can also really help to form and bulk out the stool. So it can move through the digestive system as smoothly as possible. Now, fibre we can find in an array of different foods, such as fruits and vegetables, but also beans, chickpeas, lentils, whole grains such as oats and quinoa, all the different nuts and seeds such as flax seeds and chia seeds, and even herbs and spices. So we want to aim for about 30 grams a day of fibre, but as a nation we only generally achieve 19 grams daily. So try adding an extra serving of vegetables or grains or some beans to your main meals. Also try snacking on fruit and nuts, or for a more savoury snack you could try snacking on some hummus with vegetable sticks or on some whole grain crackers to really try and boost your fibre intake. And it's important to aim for as much diversity as possible, because the diversity of foods helps create the diversity of gut bacteria, which we really need and is really important. The third tip is movement. So moving, even gentle exercise such as walking or even some yoga, can really help to get the intestinal muscles moving and contracting, which is required for a regular bowel movement. So if you can, try and fit in a 15 to 20 minute walk daily, especially if you're spending a lot of time sitting down for work or for rest. The fourth tip is your toilet position. So did you know that actually the way that we classically sit on the toilet now can really affect your ability to pass your stool? So the way we currently sit on the toilet creates about a 90 to 100 degree angle between our thigh and our torso, when actually what we need is about a 35 to 40 degree angle. Now this is in order for the muscle that places a kink on our rectum, on our colon, to relax fully and allow the stool to pass out more smoothly. So to achieve the correct angle, you need to just elevate your legs. So you can do this in a number of ways. You could place a pile of books on the floor and place your feet on top of them, some old shoe boxes, or even getting a potty stool, which is a little stool that will fit nicely around your toilet. And the last one is don't hang around for too long. So most of us are guilty of holding in our number twos until we're in a place that's more convenient and comfortable. But actually this could hinder your ability to pass your stool more regularly. So try and go as soon as you feel the urge, and it may be easier for us to do so at the moment, especially if we're spending more time working from home. I hope you found that helpful, and let me know if you do have any questions.